Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my new video. So is this the end of Nvidia in China? Looks like it's the end. If you have any Nvidia shares, time to dump them right now because it's all downhill from here, guys. If they lose the Chinese market, which is 40% of their sales, then that's finished as a company. That's them gone. Anyway, if you like the channel, you want to help it grow, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. And also watch the video to the end. It really helps the algorithm. Let's get back to the show. So why did China ban Nvidia chips from China? There's a number of reasons. The main reason is because there is a big security flaw with these chips. And this has been admitted by industry experts. They do admit that there is a security flaw within H20 chips. They seem to have some tracking. It enables you tracking, and you can also remotely shut down if required. So this is a huge security issue with the H20 chip. The other reason is Nvidia has been found to break anti-monopoly laws, and this is a major deal in China. And they have been cracking down on that issue, and Nvidia has breached that law. So that's another reason as well. The third reason is mainly because of Trump, and you cannot rely on any software or chip based on Trump's emotions. You know, the Chinese are they like to have a stable relationship with countries. They love stability. Trump is not stable. He can wake up one day, decide to ban H20 chips, which he did, by the way. He banned H20 chips, and wake up another day and say to Nvidia, "Okay, we will allow you to sell the chips, but you have to pay us 10% of the profits." I mean, what kind of you know, if you're running a business, you will not run a business with somebody unstable like that. You know, and it's even worse that Trump is a leader of America, because how can you deal with a country when the leader wakes up one day, decides to ban chips, wakes up another day, decides to let them through again, decides another day to ban the chips again. You don't know what he's going to do from one day to the next. You know, this is not stability. This is not a stable working relationship. So you know that he banned H20 chips, and they were banned for quite a number of weeks. And suddenly, out of the blue, Trump decided to allow these chips back into China again. And the reason was, oh, we're going to make some money out of it. We're going to make 10% out of the sales out of it. But the Chinese were very suspicious. Why would a leader of America, especially Trump, suddenly decide to ban the chips and decide to let them through into China again? So they've been doing some investigations, and they found that these chips have some tracking software or remote shutdown activity. So imagine this: Trump allowing these H20 chips into China, and if you have data centers and stuff like that in China, and you know you allow these tracking software to be enabled, and you maybe allow remote shutdowns of these chips, then it could cause huge amounts of mayhem. It could shut down the whole AI industry in China overnight, especially during war times or anything like that. So it's a huge security risk for China. See, it's a bit suspicious why Trump decides to ban it one day and allow it the next day, right? It doesn't sound. It sounds very suspicious. It's like if somebody, it's like a drug dealer gets arrested one day and gets let out. Well, no charges the next day. They let him out, and while all his other friends have been they basically got 20, 30 years in jail, but he's the only one that's free. Doesn't make any sense. You know, there's something going on behind the scenes. So this is what's happened. The anti-monopoly law is the other one. Trump, you don't. It's not stable. It's not a stable working relationship. Trump can wake up one day, ban it one day, let it through the other day. But I think the main reason, which is the most important reason, is humiliation. I mean, imagine going to a shop. I mean, you guys, just imagine going to a shop and you see a nice car, right? You see a nice Ferrari and you can afford it, you got the money. But the shopkeeper says, "Oh no, because you're Chinese, we cannot sell you this car. We can sell you a little bike. Here's a bike for you to take back to China. You can buy this." And you're telling the shopkeeper, "I've got the money. I can buy this Ferrari." He goes, "No, no, no. Because you're Chinese, we can't sell the Ferrari to you. But you can buy this little bike. You know." That's what it is. That's what it's like. You go to a shop, you see a nice big television, 80-inch television, and it's very expensive, but it's perfect for your bedroom. But he says to you, "Oh, we cannot sell you this television because you're Chinese, but we can give you a smaller television, 10 inches. Take that. That's the only thing we can sell to you." It's humiliating, right? And if you're a Chinese, it's humiliating. United States cannot dictate these terms to you, as a country. They've got these amazing AI chips, but they cannot sell it to China. And it's humiliating to say that, "Oh, we will make you a lower grade version for China, which is much smaller and much less powerful. It's got security flaws, it's got tracking, it's got all of these doesn't even work properly. So we'll sell you that, and so because you're Chinese, you will pay us money for it, and now go away, get lost." That's the kind of attitude the Americans have against the Chinese, and it's humiliating. So obviously the Chinese thought is all part of the 100-year humiliation. They're trying to humiliate China even more. So this is the main reason they banned it. Yeah, and the other reason is they wouldn't ban something like that out of the blue. It will only ban it if they have something that can replace these chips. And Huawei has come forward with the replacement. I mean, other companies like Alibaba are also making these chips as well. But Huawei has come back with a real solution. So, so this is Huawei's AI superpod interconnect. So obviously, chip by chip, Huawei cannot compete with Nvidia. So if it's a single chip, Nvidia is still by far very powerful. Nvidia chips get made by TSMC's latest EUV lithography machines. So and obviously Huawei doesn't have access to that, so they cannot make the latest and the greatest chips. So they have to come out with workarounds. So their workaround is basically creating a superpod interconnect system where smaller quality chips made by DUV machines, which they have access to by SMIC and other companies are doing it. So they have thousands of these smaller chips that are basically communicating with each other, and they're all set up inside a pod. And together they are much stronger, faster than the H20 chip by far. And this will become more and more faster as the technology becomes more mature on the Huawei side. And Huawei have also come out with a roadmap as well, all the way till 2028. So they have said, 2025 we will release these chips. 2026 we have this roadmap for this chip. For 2027, 2028. So there's a gradual improvement of these chips. And after 2028, who knows? They might invent the EUV machines, and obviously their roadmap will change after that. But at the moment, Huawei is focusing on their DUV technology and also, chips which are just under 5 nanometers or above, basically. So China is basically looking at, taking total control over the mature chip sector. And the mature chip sector at the moment is 5 nanometers and above. So anything from 5 nanometers going to 20, 30, 40, 50 nanometers. So these chips are obviously used for cars, EV cars, um, appliances, dishwashers, all these things. And even 5 nanometers is still enough to power up very good phones as well. Don't forget, 5 nanometers was only used years ago by the latest Apple iPhones, so they're still very, very powerful. And one of the best advantages of going local is China does not have to rely on Nvidia chips anymore, which means local companies like Huawei and other companies will be forced to innovate. And if they are forced to innovate, their technology will become better and they can compete more on the global stage and they can compete more with the best, you know, chips that Nvidia has to offer chip by chip without using this interconnect pod system. So China is looking for workarounds. They're looking to basically become a technological semiconductor hub. They want to bring all the skills in-house. They want to bring all the technology in-house. They want to give their semiconductor technologies all the advantage they can get. And also, they don't want to have any security flaws with the American chips, which can remotely shut down or have all these unauthorized tracking software. So China wants to become self-sufficient. And there is a decoupling going on between the United States and China. You know, Trump basically let this decoupling thing out the bag. When he first came to power, he started putting 145, 155% tariffs on China, which means that both countries could not trade with each other. So if you look at Trump's first term, when he started all these trade wars with China, China cannot trust America or any products that they buy from America, because America or Trump can wake up one day and decide to, ban those products or decide to start another trade war or take the tariffs to 150%. So there is a soft decoupling going on, step by step. Obviously, they cannot do a full decoupling, but not even America can do a full decoupling, but step by step, China is, they're basically stopping buying American goods. Even the farmers are not buying any more soybeans from America. So they have zero orders for soybeans this year. So now, when it comes to semiconductors, China is building its own infrastructure, its own semiconductor industry. They don't want to rely on America anymore. And even though right now they're still focused on mature nodes, 5 nanometers and above, there's going to come a time when they start using or start building their own EUV machines. It's only a matter of time. They have already built the DUV machines. I believe that's been tested by SMIC, and they should be coming into production very soon. So America has lost a huge market here. So all this trade wars they started with Huawei a few years ago. If they didn't start this trade war with Huawei, this would not happen. If Trump didn't start a trade war with China in his first term, kicked out Huawei, Huawei would not be able to make these chips to compete with Nvidia. China would have been happily just buying chips from America for the rest of their lives. It was a good partnership with them. But because of these trade wars Trump started in his first term, China decided to become self-sufficient. Companies like Huawei have built their own chips. Now Huawei are competing with Nvidia, and it's all their own fault. It's all America's fault. It's all Trump's fault. This is short-term thinking. This is um, this is very kind of low IQ kind of thinking, oh, if they start these trade wars, China will fold and collapse. They've been talking about China collapsing for almost 20, 30 years now. So now they're waking up, and this has been a big wake up call for America, especially with Huawei's up and coming chips, China banning Nvidia. I mean, this has been a big shock to America. I mean, imagine China coming and saying they don't want the chips from their best chip company, Nvidia. They don't want any chips. They don't want anything to do with them. This is a big, big shock for America. And a couple of days ago, Americans were saying, "Oh, we shouldn't sell any chips to China. It's a big security gap." Now all they're saying is, "Oh, they're not buying any more chips from us. China is not buying any chips from us. This is a big security issue. Why aren't they buying any chips? We need to force them to buy our chips." You can't win with America. It's only one thing after another. Anyway, let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care for now.